So let's have a look in more detail at how your donations are matched. So from 10 a.m. on Thursday, in the online donation phase, your donations, any donation made to your charity, to your project profile, will be matched using 75% from your pledges and 25% from the charity champion funds available to you. So if someone donated £1,000 to your charity, £750 of that would be matched from your pledges, and £250 will come from the charity champion fund. Your donor who gave through the big give would see their donation as being matched pound for pound. They would just see their gift being matched pound for pound, but they would also be able to dig down and find out more information about where the funds are coming from as well, if they wanted to. Now, as this goes on, you will use up all of your pledges, because proportionally more is coming from the pledges to begin with. And as soon as you've matched all of your pledges, as soon as you've used all of your pledges up, further donations to your charity will be matched 100% from the charity champion funds. Now obviously this is the phase that you really want to get into, where every donation is bringing in exactly the same from the charity champion funds. Now I'm going to give you an example of how that looks in practice, so that you can visualise exactly how it works far better, as I realise that that's fairly complicated and not straightforward. So let's have a look at how it works for your charity. So this is a charity that has raised £15,000 in pledges. So the pledge fund on the left of £15,000. During the pledge phase, they've gone off and they've raised £15,000 in total in pledges. That could have been one pledge, or it could have been a series of pledges. So in total, they've got £15,000. That means that they get access to £15,000 from the Charity Champion Fund as well. So this is a really key point to the Christmas challenge. However much you raise in pledges is exactly the same amount that you can access from the Charity Champion Fund. So this diagram shows exactly what would happen in any circumstance. If you had a pledge fund of £1,000, if you got £1,000 in pledges, or if you got £50,000 in pledges. But for this example, we've used a charity that got £15,000 in pledges. So they start to get online donations in during the Christmas challenge. Let's have a look at what happens there. So they get £10,000 in online donations on the first day, let's say on the Thursday. 75% of this is matched from their pledges, as I was talking about on the last slide, and 25% is matched from the Charity Champion Fund. This means that they've got £2,500 from the Charity Champion Fund, and £7,500 of their pledges have been used up. Now, if they didn't get another donation for the rest of the challenge, they would still walk away with £2,500 from the Charity Champion Fund. So right from the very first day, you're getting money from the external funders, and you don't have to hit your overall targets to walk away with anything. You get money every time a donation is made while the Charity Champion Funds are available for that particular day. Let's say this charity actually does much better, and it goes on and it gets another £5,000 worth of donations. Again, this continues to be matched at the 75-25 ratio to the level that you see on your screen in front of you. And they carry on. They keep getting donations in, and they get up to £20,000 in donations. Now at this point, they've used up all of their pledges to match donations. So the £20,000 worth of online donations that they've received have been matched using £15,000 from their pledge fund and £5,000 from the Charity Champion Fund. Now this is where every donation from now is matched 100% from the Charity Champion Fund. So the charity gets another £5,000 in pledges, and you'll see on the right hand side that is matched 100% from the Charity Champion Fund, so they get another £5,000 from that. And the charity keeps on going, and it actually hits its overall target, which is to raise £30,000 online. So it's raised £30,000 online, £15,000 of which has been matched by its pledges, £15,000 of which has been matched by the Charity Champion Fund. So there's quite a few things that this diagram tells us. The first is that however much you raise in pledges is also the maximum that you can receive from the Charity Champion Fund. The second is that however much you receive in pledges, you should be aiming to raise twice as much as that online during the online donation phase in December. So this is really important when you're submitting your application, when you're saying how much you think you can raise in pledges. So what you really need to be thinking about is, okay, well, if I aim to raise £10,000 in pledges, can I raise £20,000 online during the December challenge phase as well? Because if you can hit your overall target, you can get the maximum amount available to you from the Charity Champion Fund. You want to be able to get enough online donations to get to the point where all your donations are being matched 100% by the Charity Champion Fund. So think really carefully about how much you want to raise in pledges, because you'll want to be aiming to raise twice that amount in online donations during December. And you can also see from this diagram as well that your charity is bringing 3/4 of the donors to the table. You're bringing the pledges on the left-hand side, and you're bringing all of the online donations as well. So if you hit your overall targets, there will be a 25% contribution from the Big Give Charity Champion Funds that you're accessing. So that's a huge contribution. And not only that, but you've got all those other benefits within there as well, the ability to gain new donors, the ability to re-engage with lapsed donors, to get regular donors giving more, to get your trustees giving. So you get that 25% contribution, but also within the money that you've raised as well, there's that really powerful fundraising message that you can really utilise. And I'd really recommend having a look at some of the case studies on our website, because there's been some small and medium-sized charities who now use this, the Big Give Christmas Challenge, as a way, as their predominant main fundraising event over the course of the year, because of how powerful it can be for their organisation. But you really need to understand this diagram, that however much you get in pledges, you need to raise twice that amount in online donations during the December challenge phase to get the most from the Charity Champion Fund. So what happens when funding is exhausted each day? Well, like I mentioned before, it will be paused until the following day. So if a donor goes onto your charity project and tries to make a match donation, they will receive a very, very clear message saying that the funding has been exhausted for that day, and to invite them to come back again at 10 a.m. the following day. They will also still be given the opportunity to make an unmatched donation, but this will be made very, very clear to them, and a pop-up will come up that they will have to confirm that they realise that they're making an unmatched donation. So how much Charity Champion funding is available? So this diagram is an illustration of how much will be available to all of the charities in every sector. So if the total amount of pledges that all of the charities in a particular sector raise adds up to 1.5 million, the Charity Champion Fund would be 1 million. So this would be 2/3 of the total pledges. Now, the reason for this is that if you think back to the diagram that we were just looking at a minute ago, if everyone was able to hit their overall total, then the amount of Charity Champion funding available for every sector would have to be exactly the same as the total pledges, because the amount that each individual charity can get from the Charity Champion Fund is the same as their pledges. So if you add all of those pledges up, for every charity to be able to hit their target, you'd need the same from the Charity Champion Fund. But there's slightly less. So there's, like I say, there's 2/3 of that amount. And the reason for this is that this is what creates the competitive element in the challenge. There's always a few charities that don't perform as well, and that absorbs some of the competitiveness. But we reduce the amount of Charity Champion funding slightly, just to introduce that element of competition that really helps drive donors to to give to your organisation during the challenge. Now this is quite a big change from last year in that there's far more funding available. So this is a great year to be taking part, because proportionally there is far more money available to each charity. And just to explain this in a slightly different way, if every charity raised donations at exactly the same rate towards their overall target, you'd end up getting 66 or 2/3 of your overall maximum available to you from the Charity Champion Fund. So if the maximum that you could get from the Charity Champion Fund was £15,000, like in that example that we just went through, every charity would get £10,000 if it was raised at exactly the same rate. But that's where the competition comes in. Some charities get slightly more, many hit their overall target, some get slightly less. That's where the competition comes in. But if you really mobilise your donors, you've got a fantastic chance of hitting your overall target and getting the most available from the Charity Champion Fund. A question that we get asked every year is, how long will the Charity Champion funding last? Now, we can't guarantee this because, as I hope you can appreciate, the Charity Champion funding runs out as and when people come to donate, so there's no way in which we can predict that. What we can do is we can use all of our data that we've collected, giving data from the past 3 or 4 years, to predict exactly how long the amount of money that's available will last. So one of the reasons that we've made proportionally more money available this year is to ensure that the challenge is open for at least a couple of hours each day. Again, we can't guarantee this, but we've done extensive research and analysis and made the amount of money available so that we predict that it will be open for at least 2 hours each day, to give your donors a really good window of opportunity to go in and make a match donation and get external Charity Champion funding for your charity. So, things to remember. I tried to stress it with the example that we looked at, that you should raise twice as much in online donations as you have raised in pledges. This will give you the most that you can possibly access from the Charity Champion funding. So use a different set of donors. So this basically means to target different people, different sets of donors for the pledges as you do for the online donations. Don't try and muddle them up. Ask a certain set of people to make their pledges, and once you've got the required pledges in, then go off and promote the challenge, the online part of the challenge, to all of your other donors. You get the most out of the Charity Champion funding if you get the balance right. If you set your pledge target at a level where you can then go and get double that in online donations during the challenge phase in December. It's also better to underestimate than overestimate. Don't push yourself, especially if this is your first time doing the Big Give Christmas Challenge. Maybe go for a slightly lower figure than you were thinking of to see how it goes and to ensure that you hit your overall target and to get the most that you can from the Christmas Challenge. It is a commitment. There has to be a time commitment from your organisation. There has to be internal buy-in to make it work. So make it work really well this year, and then keep pushing the boundaries with how much that you can raise during the challenge. And remember, it is a challenge as well. You are competing against other organisations. Like I said, some people will do slightly better than average, some people will do slightly worse. It's up to you to go out and make sure you're one of the ones that hits their overall totals.